is the language of art.
Art is a tool of resistance.
This is the language of art.
Like Bertolt Brecht says, art is not a mirror to reflect reality, but a hammer to shape it with.
This is the necessity of art. Art is one of our most important tools to advocate for social justice and change.
I feel scared that I won't have a space for 2 important years on my college campus. To engage in art, to dance, to create, and to connect with my communities.
Sam Hill is our sacred space. It is the only space for the visual arts, music, dance, and theater. A cultural space should be open and accessible to everyone.
Opening the creative person. Ecstatic dance, creative practice and performance.
Form and function.
Art and social justice.
The Black Arts Festival.
Where will these activities go? Will we have space for culture and art after Sam Hill is sold?
When?
Where?
What is the financial commitment to a future space for culture?
We need a space to have a relationship to the broader community. And if we don't have a cultural space,
We just keep going away. There's no place to stay. There's no place to exchange. There's no place to share.
There's no place like Sam Hill.
There's no place like Sam Hill. There's no place like Sam Hill.
I think that art is important labor. It was that creativity that allowed me to be open to hearing other perspectives, to be open to hearing things that were completely foreign to my own experience. I found that in film, I found that in literature, I found that in dance. Everybody is not necessarily, doesn't have to be an artist and not necessarily an artist, but everybody has the possibility to create. And I want folks to understand that I just feel like there's got to be this great reimagining that happens, and we can reimagine if we can't think about things differently. We can't reimagine if we can't create. So that reimagining will have to happen through a process of creation. We really need to recreate this world in a way that is equitable. We need to create this world in a way that is safe for all of us. And then we need to, all of that has to happen. But if we can't imagine it, we can't reimagine it, then we're stuck. Allowing people to have that opportunity to explore theater and dance and music. I think that there's a lot of possibilities through that recreation that needs to happen. That creation that needs to happen so that reimagining will happen.
I think one of the things that is magical about theater is that we can experience something from multiple perspectives. In theater, we provide a direct mirror. It's dangerous because it's live, because the actor is feeding off of the audience member, and the audience member is feeding off of the actor.
This isn't just us doing this, this is all of us. Look at all of us.
Whether it's a digital interface or a live physical interface where we can actually touch each other, it doesn't matter. If it's live, it's live. And that's what I think, some theater artists, maybe we're all grappling with this because we thought of theater as an analog form and video was entering as a design element. And now with, COVID-19 and the pandemic, many of us who are getting very creative and asking this question of, what is it really? What does it consist of? And what I would say is it consists of that dangerous quality of the live event, that anything can happen. And you don't know if I'm going to do the same thing I did last night. Art is a query, so I'm putting a question out there. I don't know what other people are going to see. It's not that I want them to see anything. I don't want them to come to my point of view. I want them to discover the questions I've been asking and maybe their own questions, and let's ask them together. And then afterwards, let's talk about the questions that arose from experiencing the work. And it's that leads to the transformative social dialogue that I think expands our human interaction and our ability to think from different perspectives. Theater is a mirror that we created for ourselves. And you don't need anything but human beings in space, live. So I think that's the most direct form of activism, because that's dialogue, that's embodied dialogue, it's verbal dialogue, it's textual dialogue, visual dialogue. When you get that many forms of dialogue between people live, that's transformative.
We are the exodus, the deliverance from tyranny. And we are a force that depends on you. The people, the band, join us! Join us in our fight! Join us against extinction, against imperialism! Aren't we done fighting for ideals? Aren't you fucking sick and tired of talking about what could be?
Narratives give us the opportunity to explore questions about ourselves, our society, and different perspectives on those questions.
If I go to see a piece of theater and I'm not asking myself something, then I don't know that I've really gone to see a piece of theater that was valuable. It needs to provoke something, and then we need time to sort of have to, sort of talk back and have that discussion about what it provoked in me and why I was provoked that way, and what do we do next.
My focus professionally, creatively, is in dance as a means for transformation. It was a very personal exploration that I didn't even feel like I could acknowledge as art. The creative side of me was always there in these sort of mysterious ways, which now I acknowledge in my dance as valuable, as real, but before I didn't have the words to describe that, oh, I'm actually engaging in a creative process that is transforming consciousness right now. I'm not transforming a clay or paper, I'm transforming my heart and consciousness. Like, that's my canvas. I didn't know consciousness was a real medium until I got into like the second year of studying Butoh as an experiential practice, as an experiential art. And now I recognize, if I want to do something creative, whether it's a ritual or a drawing or a piece of music or a dance, it's alchemy, because my consciousness is my canvas. When I'm lifting my body up into the sky, I'm not just doing this physically, but I'm actually having a conversation with my 16-year-old self and feeling the voices of my mom and my dad and my grandpa and my grandma, and holding my experience in undergrad and holding all of this, and that's all held in this one movement, and it gives me chills and it does something. From the outside it just looks like this, but for the dancer it's a transformation of consciousness. It's in that moment, it's a celebration of consciousness. It's a way of integrating experiences. It wasn't until I took a theater course here in terms of like theater as activism, or theater for social transformation, that I started opening up to more artistic mediums. By the grace of God, I was in the right place at the right time with the right people. These places and people guided me sort of, I guess you could say, back to myself. Intellectual thinking couldn't do that alone. So I was reproducing other people's words and getting a good grade for that. But where was I in that? I was something more mysterious and ethereal to be discovered, and that's why I went from a sort of trade degree to the arts, because I recognized whatever trade I was interested in was this sort of terminal path, and what I saw exploring myself through art was a never-ending mystery that I needed to know about.
But with my artwork, my goal is to communicate environmental and social injustices. That is the key in my artwork.
Sleepwalking, sleep talking, reciting poetry on how I relived past lives of slavery after coming from the ocean from overseas. Not waking up from this nightmare. No, nigga, I didn't have a drink. My father was a cop. My brother's a cop. I've seen firsthand what these boys in blue do for this country. These are brave souls that are family oriented, and I gotta tell you that is the backbone of America. That is the backbone of this country, and I gotta tell you. I'll keep my license visible to prevent any more altercations. Am I free to go, Leia? No bullet holes in my license and registration.
I think art is never meant to change. Inspire, yeah. To inspire change, sure. Like even right now, like Prescott College is very like divided. A lot of tension and a lot of unfortunate events happening. And there's a lot of organizing, there's a lot of meetings. Like recently, I'm like, you know, we need music. We need music, and we need to come together and like just make art together. Art's supposed to express who you are, and once you shift that for a crowd, for other people's perceptions, that's when it's not art no more. It's just showing off. Like you're so cooped up on getting stuff perfect, but like people will follow, people will listen because you put something out there just because. People love honesty. Art's honesty for sure.
I think art and academia, the place, can be very scientific. It can support the humanities. It can support like storytelling and literature studies, analysis studies. The classes I took taught me that there are so many ways to understand reality, what is happening to you and around you and to the people around you. These classes definitely put me into the context of a greater world. It would have to be the first Boal class that I took. Just so vulnerable and coming together and bearing our souls. That was probably the most fundamental change that I've had in like post-adolescence, I would say, post-teenagehood. That was probably one of the most profound moments of my development. It was really important for me to be able to see that other people have these self-perceived flaws and imperfections that will also stop them from doing the same things that I'm afraid to do. And then I see other people afraid to do the things I'm not afraid to do either, and vice versa. Just a huge lesson in empathy and positionality. And I really feel like I broke free. I feel like I was liberated in that class. I think everybody should have the right to make art without feeling like they're not contributing something. Maybe people are throwing terms around that you don't understand or relate to, but like art is yours. Everybody has the right to what art means.
It's just like this whole other aspect of theater that I never knew existed, never even like conceived of at all. My first Boal class like really paved the way for like the other things that I wanted to learn in college. That kind of led me into like the realm of embodiment and like healing through movement and just like the like embodied knowledge and cognition in general. I just feel like I learned so much about myself because, you know, like the whole thing with Boal is like you're communicating with and through the body, and so there's like information that I'm not necessarily aware of consciously, and it only kind of like comes up through this embodied experience. Having like other people also like reflect back. There's like information that comes out through embodiment.
My body is the most important thing about me, but not because that's what Cosmopolitan tells me. It's the most important thing because it's how I experience the world. It's how I climb trees, make art, play, and laugh. We are taught to ignore our blood, bones, and flesh, to police, to control, to dominate, but forget that this is part of the human experience. Do you even know what it feels like when the wind brushes your cheek and when the sun kisses your skin?
I went to the first ecstatic dance class in Sam Hill. It just felt so natural for me to be in that space. And it was just absolutely healing, like for my psyche from the day one, which led me to doing it every week when I could. And I just started to get more and more into it. It just became like my source of healing. It was my therapy every week, was going to ecstatic dance, because it's just when you're like moving all the kinks out in your joints and in your muscles and in your energy in your body, it's like you leave feeling so free. Embracing everybody else's experiences when we would circle up at the end was like just so beautiful to watch other people heal. So that led me to want to run ecstatic dances, like keep that going for our school, because that was the one club I was always engaged in. That was the only one I ever felt called to, and it was life-changing for me. It's just sad to see it kind of pushed away by the Prescott College administration, because I just had a lot of trouble keeping it up and running, and the communication was terrible, and I just felt zero support from the authority to keep it running. And I just felt like this is what is my glue here. This is what glues me at Prescott College. Like, this is my community space right here. Our society is losing the arts. Like, we're losing the art in daily life. We don't find the beauty or the magic in being alive. It needs to be a priority to keep the arts alive. That should be the goal of Prescott College.
To me, when I was doing something else, or when I was not writing or creating, I just felt like I didn't have a soul. I felt like part of me was dead. We're all creative, and if we're not, again, imagining, then we can't change the world, because we're limiting our brains to what's in front of us. It's important to reframe that, like the way that we relate to it, and like the way that we express ourselves. Part of existing, part of living is just expressing, like the way that we dress, the way that we speak, the way that we create, the way that we interact with each other and connect with each other. Even when people don't admit it, they're creating art every fucking second of their lives.
Arbitrary limits limit our ideas of remembering. Remember? You're nothing but dust, and in the collection of memories lives the solution to your agonizing questions. Your back sits projected into time, across from you. Your splitting sits on the way of your remembering. Dismember now, or else.
Like, that process is the important part to me. I have to apply that to everything else. And it is liberating, because letting go of the expectations in art is very nice, because then you're not being mean to yourself. That just art class, people were definitely some of them were transformed in their process of just creating. And there are really touched a lot of people who came to see it. I remember being not even halfway through the room and just completely being in tears. I was interpreting the art and applying it to my own life, as one does, but good art does that. Good art is translated. Good art is able to be interpreted and able to make you feel. I feel like there needs to be more opportunities for students to have that. For me, being in a community space where I create, I feel at home, and I don't even know what home is.
We love Prescott College, and we love Prescott.
We
want this school to have a sanctuary to help retain students, for the environment, for social justice, and for the arts.